All right, let's see if we can see some sort of pattern in this sequence here. So the difference between 11 and 1, 11 minus 1 is 10. And the difference between 6 and 11, well, 6 minus 11 is negative 5. That makes sense because I'm moving down or decreasing in value here, so I have negative 5. And then 16 minus 6 is 10. And 11 minus 16, that's also negative 5. So I'm seeing the pattern here is 10, negative 5, 10, negative 5. So I'm just going to build this last one here. It's going to be the difference here is 10. So starting back at 1, to build this list, I'm adding 10, subtracting 5, adding 10, subtracting 5. That's probably the simplest rule to think about for this sequence. So now the next three terms are going to be, well, I'm going to subtract 5. So my next value, if I were to subtract 5, let's see if we can do that. Yeah, we're going to subtract 5 here. So that's going to be 16. My next number in the list is 16, followed by, well, I'm going to add 10. I'm going to add 10. So that's going to give me a value of 26. And then, so what I'm going to do here is subtract 5, I'll get 21. So 21. So the next three terms in this list are 16, 26, and 21. Box that up. Let's look at another. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at this list. So starting with 1, then I have negative 2, followed by 3, negative 4, 5, negative 6. Okay, so the next three terms in this list, how could I build it? Well, one way to think about this is just following that first term, following 1. So following this first term, like I said, so we're going to call this a sub 1. Following this first term, each odd term, so a sub 3, that's an odd term because it's the third term, and a sub 5, oops, and let's fix that, a sub 5. So 3 and 5, these are odd terms. Well, what I'm doing here is I'm adding 2 to the previous number, or the previous odd term. So to get from the third term to the fifth term, what I'm doing is just adding 2 to it. To get to the third term from the first term, I just added 2 to it. I'm going to change colors real quick. Okay, so now each even term, so a sub 2, that's an even term, it's the second term, and the fourth term would be a sub 4, and the sixth term would be a sub 6. Well, these terms, these even terms, what I'm doing is actually decreasing in value, so I'm just actually subtracting 2 from the previous term's value. So to get a sub 4, I had to subtract 2 from the value in the second term. Okay, so to get negative 4 in the fourth term, I had to subtract 2 from the previous term's value, which is negative 2. So negative 2 minus 2 will give me negative 4. And to get negative 6, I had to subtract 2 from the previous even term, which it's negative 4 minus 2 will get me negative 6. That's probably a more complicated way of working through this problem, so I'm going to erase that information. We really don't need to think about it that way. So a less complicated way of thinking through this problem is to actually think about all these numbers. Starting out, just think about them all as absolute values. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on, 7, 8, 9. And absolute value just means the distance I am away from 0. So then all I really have to do from there is switch the sign from each term's value. So if it's a positive value in the first term, the next term is going to have a negative value, followed by positive, followed by negative. So again, I'm adding 1 to the absolute value, and then I'm switching the sign based off the previous term's value. So since I stopped at negative 6, well, my next value is going to be positive 7. So positive 7, followed by, I want to change colors. So it's going to be positive 7, followed by negative 8, followed by positive 9. And if I wanted to or needed to, I could box this answer up.